What is up, everybody? So it's Friday, November the 15th. It's 7:35 in the morning, and we're getting ready to go out for a scout this morning and afternoon before all the guys show up this afternoon. And I wasn't able to hunt Wednesday or Thursday or today because of here on Fort Knox, they let the base settle down for the gun hunt that's coming in. So they give it the first week or the week prior to the gun opener off of all hunting. That way it causes the woods to be able to rest a little bit, and that way the gun hunt's really beneficial and really good. So, which is perfectly fine. I went scouting a little bit yesterday, road scouting and everything, and man, I found giants everywhere. And in one of the particular areas that I've got history with from the first year that I came here and hunted at, I went there first and laid eyes on a very, very, very big buck chasing a bunch of doe, him and another little basket rack of 8. And so we're going to go deep diving into that spot this morning. And we're going to get some breakfast and everything going on the belly. And but other than that, hang with me. Let's get out here and let's see if we can get this thing rocking like we like it. Let's get to the woods. I'm excited to get this on the roll. Oh, I love hunting. You're about to see a big buck up close and personal. A big buck. That is a big old buck. We made it to the spot that we're going to go scout. This is a really good area. It's a very big creek bottom, marshy like area down here, but it jumps right up into these ridges, and all these ridges funnel right down into it. And there's a lot of big deer in this area. There's a lot of big deer that get taken out of this area over the years. And yesterday while I was out here scouting, I seen a mega. I mean a mega. But I know for a fact with this area, due to previous years, the history we all have with it, the history that it's been able to cultivate, it is a big deer area. So it's big, deep ridge timber up on the top, and that's stuff I love, especially during the rut. I love these bottoms that are thick, really high stem count, and when these ridges and funnels just dump right into them, it's a recipe for success. So we're going to get the rest of our pack and everything up, and then we're going to roll out. Alrighty, let the quest to find a mega begin. So as you can see, it's a massive ridge. It just runs all the way up through there. And I'm in this bottom right here. And there's really high stem count stuff all through here. Right through there. So it's a west wind right now, so it's coming out of my back from where the truck is, and it's blowing up through here. But tomorrow morning, it's setting up for an east wind. So it's going to be coming from the back of this, rolling all the way down this draw. Plus the thermals in the morning are going to pull this way, but once that sun hits, it's going to start rising. But I'm pretty sure we have a more consistent wind that will dominate the thermals. But being able to push in here tomorrow is going to make for a lot easier access without wind bumping anything. But these bucks should be cutting across it, checking anything downwind of it. So my goal is to find the first set of bedding and or scrape and try to sit back off of it a little ways. So let's see what we can find though. No more than 10 seconds after saying my goal is to find a scrape, I walk about 15 more yards and there's a scrape right there. So that's good. So we're gonna push on up in here a little more and just see if we can't see anything. I'm probably gonna jump up on this bench and work these benches, because bucks love to work a bench and they like to bed on benches. And so we're gonna check back in here and see if we can find anything else that's good. All right. So I just found some great sign. It absolutely poured the rain yesterday, as you've seen in the video. Poured the rain. Here's a fresh rub right there. I've been tearing it up in here. Now look at this. Big fresh rub. So a lot of people would be like, oh, well, that's a turkey. Well, it's not a turkey because there's a ton of buck sign around it. That one's a big old scrape. So if I had to guess, that's a mature buck holding up on a doe and claiming her, getting tore up when another buck is trying to challenge him. And you may say, well, I don't know, it might be a turkey. Well, this is the leading cause why I know it's not. So you see the rubs, all the other scrape that was right back there, the really big one, the milling around where they're digging in and trying to feed. Ginormous red oak right here. Ginormous red oak right there. A big red oak right there too. There's a white oak right here in front of me, a bunch of red oaks and everything right here. And this is the one reason why I know it's deer. That's a bed. So you can see. It's a big bed at that. It's a big old bed. And right here is its haw print, or its prints where its arms are down in the ground. There's buck hair or deer hair all in it. And it's a big, big bed. So far, this is a really good sign. So I know they're working this bottom, and there's a hot doe in this area, and there's a mature buck trying to hold her. So let's see if we can push on and find some more. So I'm literally on a trail right now, right? And we were just looking at all that sign right there a minute ago. Well, walk up on this beech tree, not even 20 yards up the hill. Fresh scrape, fresh scrape. Those were made within yesterday and last night to this morning. That's phenomenal sign. That's fresh, fresh. And the way that this west wind's coming out, or east wind's coming out in the morning, right now it's blowing up the draw. And in the morning, it's gonna be coming from this backside of these ridges, blowing down. So far, I have found what I'm looking for, because I know they're using this bench. I'm up off of the cover side, as you can see. It's all really thick. Super, 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 super dense, all the way down through there. And so far, I see what they're doing is they're working these edges of this thick stuff, scent checking it. And if there's a buck in here that's, you know, got a doe locked down and other bucks smell her, they're going to come in and try to challenge to get that doe. And he's going to get tore up and want to make his mark to show that he's the dominant deer over her. And so right now, so far, this is really good. So hopefully I can get in here, follow this trail out, kind of get an idea of where they're going, because it looks like they're coming off this big ridge right out of this funnel back here. And so I found scrapes, rubs, and beds, all three.
and that's what you want. Now all I got to do is have the right elements to be able to make this thing come together. Let's keep on pushing. Right over there under that big beech tree, the big leafy tree you see there, the brown leaves, is where I just seen those scrapes. Now look right here. When they're that fresh, friend, that deer is in this area. Now the rut, they can come and go quick because they're on the move. But when they lay sign down, it's because they are marking territory. They are trying to make a point. Other mature deer push into the area and want to try to create a dominant effect out of that. Doesn't mean that I might kill this deer, but what it does show is that there's a buck that wants to claim it. And if you know anything about the rut, there's always another mature deer that wants to come in and try to assert his dominance. Man, we're having a good scout so far. So I'm just now at the foot of this ridge right here, as you can see. And we're gonna keep on trying to find something and make these chances a little better. So I just found another scrape right here under this beech tree. Pro tip, a big buck likes to use a beech tree for scrapes and licking branches, and cedar trees and some oaks. But in our area, I see a lot of beech trees utilized. In some areas, I see mountain holly trees utilized. They all change based on the environment that those deer gravitate towards. So I just found another big rub right here on this bench. Looks like an old logging road coming through here. So up through. So and a ton more sign down through here. So far, it's looking really good. The reason why I chose this side is because yesterday we had a north wind when that front blew in a lot of cold weather. And I chose this side because the way the wind was setting up, I knew the deer would be traveling this side off of the rain, which way the storm was coming in, because they want to travel that off side of the thick cover to scent check, everything like that. So far so good. The diagnosis is coming together just as planned and just as we thought. So hopefully I can find something that just blows mine and your socks off. So let's keep on cracking. So as I was just saying, I found that rub and I looked on down the hill where all this stuff is right here. Look, this is a sign of a big bodied deer. You see that right there? Where it's broke off. It's twisted up and broke off right there. That means he has enough leverage in his neck to grab that tree with his rack, twist it and snap it off. As you can see, he's got a lot of damage right here. Right there. He threw that tree down. There's a bunch of little trees all the way around it that's just got marked up. Here's the hoof prints right here. I'm really liking my odds so far. I'm just praying, Lord, bless me, Lord. Give me the opportunity on a big deer tomorrow. Let's keep on cracking it. This place is jacked up. Plumb tore up. So much rut sign in here. That's why I love this area. I just bumped a doe up right here on this bench in all this thick stuff. I literally was just thinking, I'm surprised I haven't bumped a deer yet. Well, there you go. So that's good news. It's late morning, and so at least I know the distance and where that they are now. So I'm going to mark that on my Onyx where I've just got the first deer presence, and then keep on pushing through here. All right, so I came all the way up on this left side, or the right side coming in. I went left coming in and made a big circle, big U, and came around the right side of this bench. And all the signs over on that left side that I first thought would be based off of the recent weather. And so that side looks more promising than everything else. It has a lot more funnels and benches that are funneling through this entire bottom than this side. This side has 2 benches on it that have just a strong trail traveling through it, but nothing too substantial off the sign side. So based off of that sign over there, that kind of tells me that there may be doe over there just like the one I jumped, but those bucks know that, and they're coming through and they're pushing that side, laying sign down and everything to try to ensure their efforts of being able to catch one that may be hot so they can breed. But we're headed back to the truck to get some drinks, and then I'm gonna dump around this other side of this point, back up this other draw, and see if I can't find anything over there. That's where I found, or that's where I seen that really big buck yesterday. So I already knew based off yesterday that it was good, but I wanted to jump in this area first to go ahead and get it all narrowed down. So I'll meet you at the truck. All right, we made it back to the truck. So we're gonna grab a drink real quick, and then we're gonna head back down the road just a little bit. I'm walking, that is, and hitting the edge of this zone and jumping up that other side of that ridge and that bottom over there as well to check it out. So stick with me. All right, we're headed back into the woods here real quick. And like I said, we're going to this next little piece over here. So we'll get in there and see what we can find. So there's the road, and I just got right in here. That's a mega rub. You can see, look how big. Now, they're hitting it pretty hard. So that's a good sign so far, because this right here is exactly where I seen that big one yesterday and that little one chasing that hot doe around in this bottom. They come across the road right in front of the truck, and I got footage of them chasing that doe. So let's see if we can't push up in here. So right up the hill from that big rub, here's a beech tree. Here's a licking branch. There's a scrape. So far so good. There's a rub right there. They got a hard push trail right up through here. It's a real open area with a massive bridge with a lot of big timber laid-ons, and they're running this bench. So I believe we're gonna get into some good sign here in a second. All right, as I was walking up through here, I just pushed a deer up that hill. It didn't blow or nothing, it just pushed back. Now my wind's coming right into my face, right off these areas you can see right here. That big old ridge does a big U all the way around me, right through here, and all the way back around that way. And that deer was right over there. And it started moving up that ridge. I could just get the tail end of it, so I couldn't really see what it was. But I like this area so far for the sake of how open it is with the gun. But you can only hunt here on Fort Knox with a muzzleloader or a shotgun. So you don't have like really a super long distance shot. But personally, I love thick cover. I like it when it's thick and nasty. That's my favorite stuff to hunt, because big bucks will try to push a doe right in there and try to sequester them right up in there and try to breed them. And doe like to bed up in there because they can hear anything coming and going. And so whenever you can sneak in there real quietly and get in there real easily, I feel like your odds of getting a more mature deer are a lot higher. That's just my personal opinion. Now, I'm not saying you can't kill big deer in big open areas like this. This to me is just very open areas that they're going to be pushing through, traveling through, and everything, getting from point A to point B, checking everything. And so far the sign though has been all on that other side of that other ridge in that bottom. And that's what I personally like. And it was all fresh, hot sign. So I'm going to try to get up on this ridge here and come up on the top of it and circle back around this point and then drop back down and see what the top of it looks like and just go from there. So I'm coming up this ridge point right here, and it's pretty steep, but I love it. All right, I'm at the tip of this ridge point, and I'm loving already what I see. Look how thick this stem cover is. All the way down in there. Just a bunch of underbrush that's super, super, super thick. And I'd about guarantee I'll find a bed, at least a buck bed, up off this point up here. And the way this wind's setting up for tomorrow, it should be fire. Let's see what we can get. So, I was just pushing up in here, and that deer that I pushed up the hill a minute ago was sitting right up here on the edge of this thick cover. And as I was coming up through here, there's a bunch of rubs. As you can see, right there's one right there. But there's a bunch of rubs coming up through here. Well, sure enough, as I said, I would find a bed. And so that tells me right then and there that this is a good bed for a buck because of the dense cover, the way the wind sets up, and how thick it is. They'll lay back in this cover and watch anything coming to and fro. And the way that bed's made, it's made like a crescent shape facing this way. So it tells me he likes the wind to be coming out of his back, off the backside of this point, dumping over top of him, so he can scent check everything behind him, and he can keep his eyes down there, down in that bottom, and up this point coming up from the base of it to be able to check anything coming to and fro that might be considered danger or anything like that. So, and as you can see here, here's a bunch of old historic rubs. Right there's a big historic rub. There's a big historic rub. There's another one. There's a broken tree right there that they've been rubbing. So, oh, there's another bed where he's getting up and moving around. There's another one right there. He's just getting up and moving around. And the reason why I say that is because white oak, big white oak. So another big one right here. So big bucks know where to live, and I know where to find them. So that was a buck that I jumped up right here. It just jumped up and took off up that point and run across the right side of that ridge. And watch this wind. Going back that way. So it seems to be that when he got up, he came up, dropped down with his face into the wind, scent checking this ridge, dropped over here, probably fed around for a minute, and then worked his way back up to the top. And obviously, oh, there he goes, blowing right there. So obviously, just pushed him out of here. So it's okay if you bump him out. We call that bumping and dumping. And I could show back up here in the morning, and he could think it's okay and push back into this bed and probably get a crack on him. But it's good news. Don't be afraid to bump deer, because the best way to know they're there is to bump them. And they're not always going to get freaked out because it's their home. they go back to where they're comfortable. They're just going to be a little more on the edge. And you play the elements right, you play the wind right, play access right, you can beat them to the punch. Coming on up in here. Some fresh droppings. So definitely are feeding on this point. There's a ton of red oaks and a bunch of big mature white oaks. So I made it about another 80 yards up this point, and there's been rubs coming all the way up through here. And here's a scrape. There's a big licking branch right there. There's the scrape right there. And the way this wind is setting up on this point right now, it's a northwest wind. So it's coming across, setting up, blowing perfect to that bed. So I like it so far. It definitely reminds me of home. There's another big rub right up there I see. That's pretty fresh. That had to be done within the last couple days. But I just jumped up a big buck. On top of this ridge. And it opened up really hard. And it got really thick again. And he was bedded right in that edge of that big stuff, about 20 yards into it. He's a big deer. Looked like a big 8 or a big 10 pointer. All I could see was a big body jump up and a big rat move. So I'm kind of struggling what to do with this time. So I'm going to see if I can ease on it. He pushed down off the side there, but he stopped. He didn't take off blowing. He didn't know what I was. I'm going to try to ease up here and see if I can't get eyes on him. Alright. I just seen him again. He went up and came around and come off this other side right here. And he was definitely a shooter buck. He was probably, I'd say, a good 5.5, 6 inches outside his ears. And he caged in. So 2 bucks on one big point. That's big success right there. Because it's midday right now, so that tells me if they're coming in and hitting that bed right there, and they're going to get up and move out. So this, like I said, it's a northwest wind coming right off this point and dumping right over the back of it. So that first one had to be a satellite bed or satellite buck, because it didn't seem too big. But this deer, he was a big deer. And so that's good news. I just got to be able to diagnose the weather pattern for tomorrow and how this wind's going to shift off of this ridge tomorrow morning, because the thermals are going to rise. But if we have good strong wind, like we should, but in the hill country, it changes second to second, it seems like. But as long as the pattern stays consistent, so far we're in a great area. That makes 4 mature bucks that I've seen in this one area in 2 days. So all we need is one of them to give us a crack. And we're going for legal. We're not going for giant. But if we get a giant, praise the Lord. So I just bumped up 3 more deer up here. And 2 of them look like doe, and the other one was that buck. And so it looked like he was tending some doe up here. And I took my grunt tube and I started grunting and pushing through here like I was going to start trying to get on one. And the doe jumped off to the left side and the buck went off to the right side. So hopefully these doe will stay in this area by tomorrow morning, and we will get an opportunity. I'm at the very top of this point now. You can see all the way down there. Right down there is the truck. I came up, made a big horseshoe, and now I'm going to dive back down towards the truck. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the camera and make my way back to the truck. And so I'll see you when we get back. All right, so we're back at the truck. And so far this morning's scout, I hit the 2 bottoms that I wanted to hit, and I hit the 1 ridge that I wanted to hit based off of the conditions that, like I've said already, that we're supposed to have tomorrow morning. And using the conditions today to scout properly to make sure that if I was going to bump anything, I didn't bump it with scent, but I bumped it by pushing movement in on it. And well, it worked, as you've seen. And so we're gonna jump on out of here. And I got my pack and everything in here. And I'm gonna hang it in the morning. I'm gonna be out here real early. I'll probably be up around the 4 o'clock mark to check in to the area. And because you got to reserve your spot to be able to check in and everything here, and you want to be sure you beat everybody else to it, especially if they're trying to hunt this area, which I'm sure there probably will be a lot of intrusion because this is a really good area. But anywho, so I'm going to go ahead and pop out of here. Thomas and all the guys, they should be arriving here shortly. And we're going to meet back up at the main gate. They got to finish up some of their paperwork and everything. His dad hasn't got to do any of his paperwork, so they got a long day ahead of them. And I'm going to jump out and try to meet them here in a little bit and get some lunch, and then go help them scout probably this afternoon and evening if they can. But if they can't, then we're just going to meet up with the rest of the crew and call it a night. So hang with me. Let's see if we can get some bucks down on the ground in the morning. And as always, scout hard, hunt easy.